Imagine a story so powerful that it spans over 7,000 years. Like it shifts from ancient Sanskrit to modern regional languages, gets mapped by modern astronomical software, and actually shapes the architecture of entire foreign countries.
It is a massive scope to try and wrap your head around.
It really is. Welcome to today's deep dive. I'm super excited because we are exploring the Ramayana today, but not just as a religious text.
Right. We are coming at this from a very different angle today.
Exactly. We've got this fascinating stack of sources on the table. We are pulling from archaeological reviews, historical analyses, scientific dating books by researchers like Pushkar Bhatnagar and Suraj Bala, and even Indian government cultural press releases.
It is a really diverse set of documents.
Yeah, so our mission today is to explore the historical, the scientific, and the staggering global footprint of this epic. But before we dive into the software and the ancient trade routes, we need to set a quick baseline.
I think that is really important, yeah.
Because these sources contain deeply held religious beliefs, sweeping historical claims, and even touch on modern political contexts like references to the Ayodhya temple site. So we are not taking sides here.
Absolutely not. We are not endorsing any specific religious viewpoint or validating a political stance.
Right. Our goal is just to impartially unpack the data and the ideas presented in these specific sources for you, the listener.
And setting that calm, analytical tone is key, because what is truly fascinating here is how a single narrative can be examined through such different lenses, linguistics, astronomy, international diplomacy.
Okay, so let's get into it. Before we can use software to date the epic or track its global spread, we have to understand how it was actually born and the sheer scale of the text.
Yeah, you really have to grasp the foundation first.
The origin story in the sources is just, well, it's captivating. It starts with Sage Valmiki. He's just walking along a river, observing nature, and he sees a hunter kill a mating Kruncha bird.
Which is a type of large crane.
Right, a crane. And Valmiki watches this and is just overcome by profound sorrow for the female bird left behind. And the Sanskrit word for his sorrow is shoka. And his sorrow spontaneously transforms into this rhythmic poetry, which is called a shloka.
It is such a raw, emotional starting point.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to me, that is basically a linguistic Big Bang. Out of this single moment of empathy, this entire literary universe just explodes into existence.
It really does, and the scale of what Valmiki created is just staggering. The original text consists of 24,000 verses, or shlokas.
Wow, 24,000.
Yeah, divided into 7 massive books known as kandas. And over time, it developed into 3 main recensions, which are basically regional variations.
Like the southern Gaudiya and northwestern texts, right?
Exactly. But what I find most fascinating in the historical analysis is the layers of language within the original text itself.
What do you mean by layers?
Okay.
Different dialects.
Yes, exactly. It is not just written in one uniform voice. You have elite Vedic Sanskrit, which is used by educated characters.
Oh, like when Hanuman speaks to Ram.
Right, he uses flawless grammar. But then you have a middle tongue, Laukic Sanskrit, which is basically the human everyday language.
Okay, so the common people sound different than the elites.
Exactly. And it even goes a step further. The sources note that regional dialects were used by the Vanara tribes in the south.
That is so cool. It's like watching a movie where the characters actually have accurate regional accents based on their social class.
That is a perfect analogy. And why this matters for you, listening right now, is that it shows the Ramayana wasn't just this static, isolated document.
Right, it was a living text.
Yes, reflecting a highly complex, stratified society that was transitioning out of the Vedic period.
But, because it was a living text, it didn't just stay frozen in that elite Sanskrit. To survive millennia, it had to adapt to the common people.
It had to evolve, absolutely.
Which brings us to the tale of two epics. The massive contrast between Valmiki's original and Goswami Tulsidas' 16th century version, the Ramcharitmanas.
This is a huge shift in the history of the epic.
It really is. The sources highlight some major differences. First, the language. Valmiki used Sanskrit, but Tulsidas wrote in Awadhi and Bhojpuri.
Which were the vibrant, everyday vernacular languages in northern India at the time.
Right, and he changed the format too, from strict shlokas to accessible dohas and chopes.
Catchy, rhyming couplets that regular people could easily memorize and sing.
Exactly. But here's the biggest change. Valmiki portrayed Ram as a noble, ideal human and a darsh purush. But Tulsidas portrays him as an explicitly divine, superhuman avatar.
A total theological shift.
Yeah, and that shift changed the plot. Some of the most famous scenes we know today are entirely from Tulsidas and later adaptations, not Valmiki.
Like which one specifically?
Like the dramatic context of the bow breaking at Sita's Swayamvar, or Hanuman physically tearing open his chest to show Ram and Sita inside. That is not in the original text.
That is fascinating.
Even the title changed. Valmiki's means Ram's journey, while Tulsidas translates to the Lake of Ram's Deeds.
A spiritual lake for devotees.
But wait, here is where it gets really interesting to me. Let me push back on this. If Tulsidas completely changed the language, altered the character from human to divine, and added magic,
Right.
doesn't that erase the actual history? Like, is it even the same story anymore if we're looking for facts?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, you have to understand Tulsidas' goal. He wasn't trying to write a historical biography.
Okay, so what was he doing?
He was creating a devotional guide. Shifting from an elite language to a common tongue is exactly why the Ramcharitmanas is read in millions of homes today. He democratized the text.
Ah, okay, so it's about accessibility and devotion, not strict historical record keeping.
Exactly. Valmiki documented a legacy, but Tulsidas created a living devotional practice.
That makes a lot of sense. So while Tulsidas focused on theology, modern researchers are basically going in the exact opposite direction.
Looking for hard data.
Right, looking for scientific data to prove the epic is rooted in historical reality. Which brings us to the astronomical dating part of our sources.
This is where the methodology gets really interesting.
It is wild. The books by Pushkar Bhatnagar and Saroj Bala detail how they used modern planetarium software, like Stellarium, to test this.
Because Valmiki didn't just write down the day of the week.
No, he recorded highly specific planetary positions. And the researchers essentially treated his ancient Sanskrit verses as raw observational data.
Right, because naked eye astronomy was their timekeeping system back then.
So they punched these ancient star alignments into the software, and the software doesn't just crash, it actually spits out a highly specific date for Ram's birth.
What was the exact date it calculated?
It spit out Chaitra Shukla Navami at exactly 12:30 p.m. and the year 5114 BCE.
Wow.
Yeah, depending on the calendar conversion, it maps to January 10th or February 19th. The precision is just mind-blowing.
It is, and what adds weight to that is the archaeological backing the sources provide.
Right, it's not just software simulations.
Exactly. They cite excavations at a site called Lahore Dewa in northern India where they found copper arrowheads.
And when were those dated?
Carbon dating puts them right around 5000 BCE, which perfectly aligns with the astronomical timeline of 5114 BCE.
That is incredible. It is basically like using cosmic GPS to dig up a 7,000-year-old birth certificate.
That is a brilliant way to put it. And the sources also argued that various Harappan sites were actually Vedic sites of the Mahabharata era.
So suggesting a continuous cultural flow for like 9,000 years?
Yes. And this raises an important question for you, the listener. How do we balance poetic descriptions with scientific software?
It is a tricky balance.
It is. But the fact that an ancient poet recorded star alignments so accurately that a modern computer can read them is astounding, regardless of how you interpret the theology.
Totally. It forces you to rethink what ancient storytelling really was.
Yeah.
But the Ramayana didn't just travel across 7,000 years of time.
No, it traveled across oceans, too.
Right. It deeply influenced cultures that don't even practice Hinduism today. And the Indian government press releases in our stack really highlight this Southeast Asian phenomenon.
The global spread of this text is arguably as impressive as its age.
The local adaptations are fascinating. You have the Rinker in Cambodia, the Kakawin Ramayana in Indonesia, and the Ramakien in Thailand.
And we actually have physical archaeological proof of this spread, much of it driven by the Chola dynasty's maritime trade.
Go the trade route.
Right. The sources highlight some amazing inscriptions. For example, the Vil Kontel inscription in Cambodia.
What does that one say?
It records a Khmer king installing a Shiva linga and specifically arranging for the continuous recitation of the Ramayana by temple priests.
Wow, so it was baked right into their daily governance and religion.
Exactly. And then there is the Devanika inscription in Laos, which astonishingly mentions Kurukshetra.
Kurukshetra?
Yeah.
From the Mahabharata.
Yes. Carved into stone in ancient Laos.
That is wild. And this diplomacy is still happening today, right?
It is. The Archaeological Survey of India is doing massive restoration work at sites like My Son in Vietnam and Ta Prohm in Cambodia.
Okay, but this brings up a huge question for me. I get trade routes moving spices and silk.
Sure.
But why this story? Why would a king in ancient Laos or Indonesia care so deeply about a prince from Ayodhya?
To understand that, you have to look at the values embedded in the epic. The sources explicitly talk about the 16 qualities of an ideal man.
Qualities like what?
Like being courageous, grateful, truthful, and free from envy.
So Ram was basically a template.
Precisely. The epic exported a universally appealing framework for ideal governance, known as Ramraja, and human behavior.
A cultural blueprint.
Yes, it wasn't religious imperialism. Kings across Southeast Asia adopted it because it was a brilliant ethical blueprint to legitimize their own rule.
They were saying, I am a just ruler, like Ram.
Exactly.
That is so powerful. Well, let's take a breath and look at the massive journey we've just been on.
It has been quite a ride.
We started with a poet's sorrow over a bird, which grew into a 24,000-verse epic. Then we saw it evolve into a vernacular devotional masterpiece for the masses. Then we reverse engineered it with modern astronomical software to 5,114 BCE. And finally, we tracked how it became a foundational cultural pillar from India all the way to Vietnam.
It is a profound testament to human storytelling, and it leaves us with a final thought to mull over.
Oh, I love these. Lay it on me.
Well, we just saw how ancient poets essentially embedded precise astronomical data into their verses data that survived 7,000 years for our software to decode.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, what seemingly artistic or emotional creations are we making today that people 7,000 years from now will use as hard scientific data to understand who we were?
Wow. What is our cosmic combination lock going to be? That is a brilliant question to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the stories you hear, keep exploring the history around you, and we will catch you next time.